Hi friends, it's Miss Drywa. Happy Friday. It's almost the weekend and it's almost the end of the school year. We really only have one more week left, then we have a week off, and then we start our summer session. So that's really exciting, friends. We've done so much work this year. This has been a crazy year and we have done an amazing job. I'm so proud of all of you. But for today, we're going to finish off our week of learning about minerals and rocks to talk about soil and dirt. And I don't know about you, but I know some of my friends like to, garden or go outside and help with the garden. And you have to dig in the dirt a little bit and there's soil. So some of you might be familiar with this, and that's awesome. If not, we're going to talk all about it. I have some images, but I'm sure you didn't know that there are three types of soils. Because it was news to me, friends. It's so interesting. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what soil is and what three types of soil there are. So let's get started. So I'm going to move this over so everybody can see, hopefully. Oops. Okay, so soil and dirt. Dirt, soil, or mud. They are all the same thing. It takes a long time for it to form. Soil is all over the top of the earth. Soil helps plants and animals to live. Well, we knew that because when we talked about plant survival, we had said that they need soil to put their roots in. And that's where they get their nutrients from in their water. And if there are no plants, then there are no animals. So the soil keeps the plants alive and then the animals stay alive. Soil starts as a rock. Over many years, the rock breaks down. It mixes with dead plants and animals to get nutrients. So remember when we talked about that briefly, friends? When dead plants and dead animals, when they die, they decompose, and all the energy and all the nutrients that was in them, that was left over, then gets absorbed into the ground. Well, that's how the soil gets its nutrients, to help the next plants and the next animals. Soil is made of air, water, nutrients, and broken down rocks. All right, so now let's look at an example of soil. Pretty basic here, friends. I think we all know if we dig under grass, we're going to get dirt. And you can even see in this picture all the roots from the grass and any other plants that are in there. And that's important because we talked about that. The plants need the soil to get their nutrients and their water, right? There's another picture of some soil. This one you can see all the rocks in it mixed in. It's not just like dirt. You have rocks in it there, and I see some dead grass, maybe some pieces of like a tree get mixed in there. Basic stuff, friends. So that's soil. Soil is just rocks, air, water, nutrients all mixed into one. Easy peasy. Now, let's talk about the types of soil. Sand, silt, and clay. There are three types of soil. There's sand, silt, and clay. Sand is large. Sand lets water and air flow into the cracks. So now when they say sand is large, they mean the little pieces of sand, okay? Little grains of sand. All right, so they don't mean everything as a whole. They mean those individual little pieces. And to you, you're probably thinking, well, those are pretty small. I see them on the beach. But compared to silt and clay, they're rather large. Silt is smaller than sand. It is the best to use to grow plants. So, friends, we see sand at the beach. That's not the best soil to use to grow plants because silt is. It has the most nutrients already in it for the plants. Clay is the smallest. It does not let air or water flow into the cracks. Now, clay doesn't let that much air and water in, and that's what the roots need. So that's why they're saying that the best to use to grow plants is silt. If you want to grow the best plants, you can mix all three. That will let air and water flow, but not all the way. So they're saying use all three, but the best one to use is the silts. I'm going to show you pictures. I'm going to explain all this further. Let's see. So on this diagram here, friends, it's a close-up. You can see the sand. And look, when they go to and use a microscope, you can see how big those pieces are compared to these pieces. The silt is much smaller than the sand. And the clay, they had to even go closer with the microscope or a magnifying glass to get all the way to see. So they look big, but they're much smaller. You can see these numbers are much smaller. So you have the sand, the silt, and the clay. And before we say our goodbyes, I want to show you an example of each. So this is sand, kind of looks like what you see at the beach. And again, I know you're probably thinking, those pieces look so tiny. Well, from where we're standing, yes, they do. But compared to silt and clay, they're rather large, those individual pieces. This is silt. Again, the best probably for planting flowers. It has all your rocks, some dead leaves in there. And clay. Clay you can tell is a different color. You know, you might use clay to make it wet and build things with it. Right? Alright, so our 3 types of soil that we learned about today are sand, silt, and clay. Sand pieces are the largest and they let the most air and water through. Silt, a little smaller than sand, and they don't let as much water through, but they still let some water and air through. And clay is the tiniest and doesn't let any air or water through. Alright friends, so now you have a Nearpond, and then have an amazing weekend. Bye!